Hello and welcome to class number 54. This is the first of our live sessions, which is happening right now as this class is going on virtually. So the dates are up at the top. So this first one I'm going to draw in a very large scale. So I'm basically just going to draw one box, one square. I recommend that you draw a square because this design needs a square. So I'm just imagine that there's a piece that goes beyond this, etc. and so forth. So this is just one square. I'm going to switch to my pencil and divide this into fours. So one line, I don't know if you can see that too well in the video, but one light line going across right in the middle, and I'm sorry, up and down, and one line going across in the middle. So it should be four additional squares. So I'm just going to put, from the top here, I'm going to come down just a smidge, maybe like 1/8 of an inch on this, and put a little dot. Now that's going to mark the top of the next step. I'm going to come down about 1/4 inch, and I'm going to draw an upside down teardrop here. So the point goes towards the center, and then do the reverse on this side. So you want teardrops in all of these sections, and the point needs to go towards the center point of the pencil, where the pencils intersect. Try to make the teardrops approximately the same size. Now off of this top one, right off the bottom, I'm going to put an arched line from here, and I'm going to stop just a little bit before. I'm going to do the same thing going this way. Always stop before you get to the next one. And it's easiest if you work your way around, that way you don't get confused as to what line goes where. Now we're going to basically outline this. So I'm going to start at the same point here. I'm going to move over a little bit, and I'm going to hit this line here, come up to the top, and circle around and stop. Then I'm going to jump under and do the exact same thing on the rest of the teardrops. So your line needs to hit, when you draw this next part, it needs to hit that line there and then go around. And you're basically going to complete this full loop. Now you can do this all in pencil if you want, and then trace over it in pen when you get to that point. Right in the center, I'm going to draw a large oval. Well, in this case, mine's an oval, but if yours is a circle, that's great. And then it should touch all the sides, and then I'm just going to color in those little corner background pieces, those little remaining section that's white. So I'm going to switch to my large marker just for coloring purposes, and I'm going to color in each of the teardrops. Now I'm going to take my regular pen, and in between each of the loops I'm going to draw a half circle or a semicircle here. So it doesn't need to be very bulbous, it can just be a good sized half circle, something like that. And you want one in each of the quadrants. Alright, now I'm going to turn my paper just a little bit so that I have this up, because that's how I draw the best. So I'm going to draw one petal that starts kind of in a little bit, hits the top corners here, and comes back down. And then the remaining section I want to fill up with another petal. So I'm going to hit that top edge and the side loop. So hit the side, hit the top, hit the side. So those petals should fill up that entire section. In each of the petals, I'm going to start on top of the semicircle and draw some little vein lines coming off. I'm going to color in the background between the petals. You may not have any if you've drawn yours really wide, so that's fine if you don't have any. And then I'm going to color in the background up at the top. Now this coloring part between the petals and up on this edge here, you can do that all at the end. So you can go through and you can draw all your petals first and then come back and color if that's what you wish to do. And now I'm going to turn my paper and do the exact same thing in the rest of the quadrants. And this is basically the design. So you can make this design as large or as small as you'd like. So on this very top part, these little half circles, to me it looks a little plain. So I'm going to add some little dots, kind of like the center piece of a flower kind of has a dotted look to it. So you can add some dots here. You could add some color to the petals or something to break it all up, or you could just leave it black and white. It's entirely up to you if you want to do this part here with the little dots. And it's only on the inside edge. It's kind of hard to see on the video, but just on the inside edge where it touches the loop is where I'm putting the dots. You can certainly do the whole thing, but I like it better just on the bottom. Looks great. So the final step that you can do, and this is optional, but I think it adds a lot of detail. Actually, you have to go back and erase your eraser, like I'm doing here, and then you can do this next step. So you can add some shading to this. I'm going to put the shading along the very edge of each of the petals, like it's just the very edge, and then also where the little veins meet the semicircle. There's going to be a little bit darker shading down there, and that's just to accentuate that goes down and creates a little bit more of a 3D look. So again, when we shade, you hold your hand out at the edge of your pencil so that you're not pushing too hard with the pencil. Wherever feels comfortable for you, though, is just fine. Just make sure that you start out a little bit light and then layer it until you get the darkness that you'd like. Don't forget to add some shading around this center circle, or do something with your center circle to make it pop out. So I'm just going to do just continuous circles right around the very edge, and as I get towards the center of the circle, I'm going to lift my pencil even lighter. So you can do it pretty dark around the outside edge and then lift your pencil once you get to the center. Use your finger and kind of blend them in a little bit if you want to do that, or one of those smudge tools, if you have one of those, will work just fine as well. It's a really cool design, and you can make it and use it on a lot of different things. So you could use this, like I said, as a medallion or anything else. And as you can see, this part where the loop goes underneath the other loop, you can add a little bit of shading there as well. Just gives it more of that 3D look. Looks amazing. So I drew one on my practice page that had the pattern in alternating sections. So you could certainly do that. You can make it a little bit smaller and just keep repeating that, or use it as the medallion, like I said. We'll go on to pattern number 2. Just going to draw a good sized area over here. This one is going to be a daisy look. So I'm going to start out with a big blob. So kind of think of, what do they call that? Sunny side up or over easy eggs. So there's an egg in the pan here, and then you draw one little center circle. Now you're going to switch to your pencil, and you're going to draw straight lines that kind of go around the whole outside. You don't want them to be too close together, because each of these lines is going to turn into a petal, but you do want it to fill up the section. So I recommend that you don't make them too far apart. Going back to my pen, I'm going to start at the center, go around the pencil mark, so all the way to the edge, over the pencil line, and come back down. So when you come back down, make sure that your pen line is almost right back to where you started, so that you don't take up too much of the room. And these petals should be straight out. So if they're starting to kind of arch or turn like that one does, you don't want to have them arch too much, because otherwise it'll look like the petals kind of wilting, or the flowers wilting. So go all the way out to the edge, and then all the way out to the edge, and don't go beyond the edge. So if you have that little gap in between those two, like that was drawn there, you need that. So don't worry about that too much. One more little guy. Perfect. So you can see that it's a daisy. And then I'm going to color in the background. And this is what's going to make the daisy design really pop off of there. So color in the background. If you want to use an actual color, that's fine. You could use a green or something like that, or whatever color you want, or you could just leave it black and white. The final step is to go back and add some kind of veining on each of your, that one's not straight. Make them nice and straight and just kind of like fling your pen down so it makes it kind of natural looking. So I'm going to go back and erase my pencil lines. And I'm going to try the next one without using the pencil lines and see how well I do. So I would do the pencil lines the first one or two that you try. You certainly can do it on all of them. And then go back and color. I'm going to try it without the pencil lines and see how well I do. This could get interesting. So it's the same exact concept where you go all the way out. When you hit the line, you're going to stop. It's not turning out too bad. So you certainly can do it without using the pencil marks, you just have to practice. So otherwise the rest of the design is exactly the same, and you're going to fill up this entire section doing that. When you get to these edge pieces here, I'm just going to do one quickly for you, is kind of just make your blob so it looks like it goes beyond the edge of your paper like we usually do. And then you have to imagine where your center point is. So I'm just going to put a little dot up here. You can do that in pencil if you want, and actually draw the lines from the dot into the section. Or if you can kind of visualize how it should be, you could certainly just fill your petals into this section however you need to complete your design. So something like that, and then just color in the background. So it helps to put that dot kind of out and where you imagine the center would be, and then work your petals from that point. So for the sake of the video, I'm not going to continue filling the entire section, but you would just keep putting the blobs next to each other and continue to work that way. So the very last one is just going to be another flower pattern. This is something you can use to break up a section. So you just draw a line, And at the very bottom, we're going to put some leaves on there. So the leaves can be however you want. You could do these big, floppy frond things. You can have them go behind each other, have them at different heights, different thicknesses. You can do whatever you want. If you want actual, leaves that go with whatever flower you're going to draw, you can certainly do that. So I'm just going to leave it at 1, and we're going to draw a tulip. So I'm going to go back up to the top and draw half of my bulb, or the flower part. I'm going to draw a line from the point, hitting that side point, go back up to the top and double that up. So that's your stem. And then you're going to go back on the other side and finish the bulb. Or excuse me, not the bulb, the flower. So you can draw that however it is that you'd like. You can make them, big, you can make them small, you can make the stems really, really tall. It's whatever works best for your pattern. So I'm going to draw this side first. Draw another one here. Have my other leaf go behind it. So you want to think about how you want the leaves before you start drawing them, or do them in pencil first and see how you like it. So I'm going to draw another one here, and you can make them all tall. You can make tall ones, skinny ones, whatever it is that you want. I'm going to draw the stem first, and at the top it's going to have a V. So the V part here is a little bit wider, and now I'm going to draw my bulb off of that. Should have made it a little bit taller, but that's all right. So what you want to do with the V is going to make it look like the bulb is, I keep saying that, the flower is starting to open. So it's just a V section. The original pattern that I saw had something like this on it, which is really, really neat. So I'm just going to draw it here quickly for you. This part's optional, of course. So it's these swirls, I guess, with a bulbous end on them. And they kind of were different heights. So there was one, and then another one was tucked underneath it. And then right down, I'm going to draw the bulb first. So here's half the bulb, and then I'm going to draw my stem, and it goes right behind these little fronds, okay? You go back up to the top and double that up like with the original one that we did. And then finish the other half of the bulb here. And this could be open, of course. This one's just closed. And then in between these fronds, the artist drew these horizontal lines so that it was kind of like a Zentangled tulip, which I thought was really, really cool. So you can make the tulips, like I said, as long as you want. You can make them more accurate if you prefer things to be a little bit more realistic. You can add a lot of detail to the actual flower part itself. You could draw true tulip leaves, however it is that you want. You could do anything you want with this, but it's really neat. It's a cool way to break up your pattern and do all sorts of neat stuff. So you can, of course, add shading, which I'm just going to add a little shading to this first one here. You can add this shading in color if you wish, and only have the shading be, red or purple or whatever. And actually, I read somewhere that the only color that tulips do not naturally occur is blue. So you basically could do any color that you'd like. I'm a big fan of tulips. I have tons of them in my yard, so I love tulips a lot. So you can, again, get really creative with these, really realistic, really stylized, however it is that you want to create this look. Alright, I hope that you enjoyed our patterns for today. It was feeling kind of springy because my tulips are up, so I was like, oh, let's do some flowers. So like I said again, live class has resumed. It's only twice a month. The dates for May and June are listed at the top. They will be on the advanced calendar as well. We will continue with live beyond June, but I only do like 3 months of dates at a time in case things need to change for other programs. So I do hope to see you in the library. I do hope that you're staying happy and healthy, and have a great day.